Why don't you go left to right, introduce yourself and characters' names if you have any.
Your left or our left?
My left. So it's you, Matt.
Great. My name is Matt Hill, and I am playing Frankie in Forever Plaid here at the Wagon Wheel Theatre.
My name's Kyle Timpson, and I'm playing Smudge.
My name's Kevin Clay, and I'm playing Jinx.
My name is Matthew Janice, and I'm playing Sparky.
Okay, tell me a little bit about each of your characters, what your characters like, how they fit into the story.
Well, these are four kind of nerdy, dorky white guys. Not nerdy in the sense of the nerd by any means, but they definitely are not as socially comfortable as most people. But Frankie is probably the most confident of the four. He considers himself, and they consider him, the leader of the group. So they go to him whenever they're confused or nervous about things. But he also has his own personal nerves and confusion. Frankie has asthma, so that kind of gets in his way, especially when the choreo's intense or the stakes are high. But, yeah.
Smudge is kind of I think he's the most awkward, most so maybe in terms of being outgoing, socially awkward, in terms of communicating. I don't know. It's kind of close. We've kind of determined that Smudge is the choreographer of the group, which is kind of comical because in the show sometimes he messes up the choreography. A lot of the time he messes up the choreography. He's the bass, so it's kind of like the anchor of the harmony group. And I don't know. He's got heartburn, and that kind of plays into. It's kind of like things when he gets excited, he gets heartburn, he has acid reflux, and that starts acting up, and he has to deal with that.
Well, like he was saying that it's kind of a close call, is that I would say Jinx also is one of those very socially awkward, but I think the difference is that Smudge tries a little bit more to be outgoing and connect to the audience, whereas Jinx is definitely the most sheltered of all four. I mean, he's the most shy, he's the most contained. His problem, I guess, is that he has a chronic nosebleed, that anytime he sings really, really high notes, he just starts to gush blood, so that's a problem. But Jinx is one of those characters that has kind of a tortured background. Jinx and Sparky are stepbrothers, so my father married his mother, and Jinx has this nice arc around the middle of the show where he has the song Cry, where he breaks loose and sings this big wailing, belting number, so that's kind of fun to see Jinx grow a little bit in the show.
And I would say Sparky is kind of the opposite of Jinx. That complements him. He's the most extroverted of the group. He's the class clown, the cut-up, but his journey is him becoming more in tune to who he really is, and you see him be more sensitive and caring. For the beginning, he's always cracking jokes to when he gets to tell a story about one of his idols. You really get to see the tenderness of him. So instead of going from shy to extroverted, it's sort of over-extroverted for compensations to who he actually is as a real person.
Okay. The show itself, does it actually have a plot, or is it a review of 1950s music? Or tell me a little bit about the show itself, I guess.
I definitely wouldn't consider it a review in the traditional sense, where it's, some just actors getting up and singing music in a particular order. There is very much a plot of the show. It's not a traditional A meets B, there's a conflict, like A loses B, things resolve. But in many ways, it is very, very close to home in the sense of no one would be surprised by where the characters go and what the dialogue is. That being said, the show very much takes place within the show. The performance is something that they're aware of. So as they sing the songs, most of their dialogue, most of their segues come from, okay, we're in front of an audience, what do we do next? And the plot unfolds in that sense.
It's really a study of the four guys, is what the show is. So the plot rests within the audience getting to know us in a way getting to know the particular crowd that night, and us learning more about ourselves. I guess if there's a plot to the show, it is just these 4 guys are, in the epilogue, you find out right away that they're killed in a bus crash. And we're back in 2013 to be able to give this performance that we could never give before we died. But other than that, the plot of the show really is, let's give this final performance before we make it back up top.
So you guys like ghosts, or is it sort of?
It's kind of like I wouldn't say
spirits.
ghosts. It's more like spirits. it's kind of explained. It's kind of explained in the show that the stars have aligned and the planets and have aligned, and so we've come back to Earth. It's kind of like we've come back to Earth and we get one day on Earth as humans again. But we know that when we do the show, and when we finish the show, we have to go back. And it's kind of a cool arc of the excitement of the characters to be back on Earth and the nervousness of doing the show that they never actually did. And then they start doing it, and then it's like their characters evolve, and it's kind of melancholy because their characters have progressed, and it's if they had really been alive for this, they could have gone places from where they end the show. But they have to go back. But it's kind of like, at the same time, it's sweet because they got to do what they wanted to do in life, and now it's over.
Are the characters based on real people by any chance, or is it just totally fiction?
I think the characters themselves are fictional, but the idea of them, the idea of the characters and the character model of them is based off of the kinds of kids that were in these groups in the 40s and 50s. That were, the high school groups that never got famous, but, were good. There were great groups out there that just never got big.
Also, Stuart Ross, who conceived the piece, in the beginning of the librettos that we received for just, with the dialogue and the music and all that, in the beginning, we read through all of them together, actually. There's about 12 pages of director's notes, choreographer's notes, all this information that he gives. And I think a lot of what comes into these 4 characters is a lot of things that he experienced in his own life and different aspects of his personality, and most likely who were his friends' personality. He would say all the time, like, oh, I have dyslexia, so Smudge is like me, that he has dyslexia. I was in the AV club in high school. So you can kind of feel that he really invested a lot into these characters in creating them.
He wrote about what he knew, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. I just spaced my question. I hate that. Well, the music is an important part of this, obviously. Where does the music come from, or how is the songs chosen? Or do they just fit in the story, or what songs do you guys sing? Or
the compilations of songs are all songs from the 40s, 50s, and 60s that they progress the plot in a way that the plot is about this concert. Sort of if a local artist was doing a concert, you're commenting on the song. Sometimes these songs then affect us, determine what we say in the next scenes that can develop from it, and sort of what Kevin was saying about the segues are where you get to learn about us, sort of in our roots of presenting these songs and stuff, you find out more about us. So they're not chosen as, like, let's say, Hello Dolly, she sings something, and then through that we learn something. It's sort of, you sing a song, and that entire mood of the piece, you may be informed about these men.
Yeah, it's not always necessarily the lyrics of the song that are determining the plot, but also like the gusto and the style that the song establishes. So the show starts off with some up-tempos like get the crowd excited, and then there are some more ballads where we each have a solo, and then towards the end of the show we do like the 11 o'clock numbers, the big things. And so the songs are very important where they go in the show, not because of the lyrics always, but because of what the song actually does to the crowd and to the 4 of us.
so are there certain songs that each of you like to sing, or you guys prefer, or your favorites in the show?
Absolutely. Well, and for all different reasons. Some of the songs are really fun to do. We do a song with choreography, which is a little, which I'm talking about the Palmer number, which is like just fun to do, like the song. But then there's some songs that are amazing to sing, and then there's some that are both, and then there's some where we get to hear each other solos, and those are always wonderful to back up, and pretty much everything is wonderful. Not a single song on the show is
Yeah, I don't think any of the songs are bad.
Yeah, I think something that is special about this show is there's a lot of spectacle in each number, not so much as fireworks and special effects, but there we have percussion that is like a soda bottle. There are many instruments being played on the stage, even though the pit has only 2 members. So we provide the rest of the instruments, which is fun. And then there's a if you saw Hello Dolly, there is a Waiters Gala Part 2 where we perform the Ed Sullivan Show, and that has a lot of fun things to watch out for.
Yeah, bits.
What you mean instruments? Did you guys know how to play these instruments before the show, or?
No, I was actually, and I probably should have done more homework ahead of time, I guess, to see this coming. But during the whole Ed Sullivan Show montage that they're talking about, while these guys are running around and doing all sorts of crazy stuff, I have to play the accordion, which I don't think I've ever held an accordion before the beginning of this rehearsal process, so I'm still working on it now. So by Wednesday, it's going to be great.
I think we're all learning tricks. I mean, Matthew plays the piano, and for one song he plays the melodica for one song. I have to eat fire in the show.
Really?
I'm probably the only one who gets off easy, but
Matt had to learn how to juggle. It's all this crazy. We're all kind of learning new tricks, but I think it's fun because it makes it really exciting because it's like we're doing things in the show that we've never done before, which kind of makes it really fresh and really easy for us, especially coming off of 5 other shows where we've done things that we have done before. It kind of makes it new,
and it very much authenticates these characters because these people never got to do the show, so this is the first time they're doing it, and they've been dead for however many years. How fresh are all these things to them? So it really adds, I think, a layer of honesty to the show.